Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. This is the intraday for Bitcoin. We're gonna see what happened today and what we might expect next. So basically we got of course a low from Bitcoin as we mentioned in our testing area after the leading diagonal, potential wave A or a wave 1. And we got a very complex structure here. Obviously it is a correction in WX and Y. We started to see, of course, a signal of strength toward the upside within an impulse, a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, finished wave 1, or a wave A again, of course, and we might be here in a very long sideways correction. There are several possibilities here. Now, what is important is that you took the 0.38 and even lower 0.5 Fibonacci level, which it can be already a good place to start something to push for higher here. In case you are in a 1 and then of course a wave 2, very long sideways, which I don't like it at all. And especially with this drop today, we saw a little bit of pressure toward the downside, which it can be of course something impulsive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish up potentially an A, B, and a C, very likely also to be finished in a longer correction. However, because it is a very long correction here, well, I start to doubt it a little bit from a point of view of a wave 2. Might be a wave B, of course, in this case. And in case we take the low, definitely it's gonna be. And also from another point of view, even as a triangle, if this is a triangle, well, it's not allowed to be a wave 2. So don't forget this rule from Elliott Wave also is not allowed to have a triangle for wave 2. So we have two options here, or two possibilities, A, B, C, for a potential wave B and pushing a little bit for higher for 1 to 1 fib level over there, taken from these lows in 91K. Or it can be, of course, a 1, 2, but you would like to see continuation towards the upside by all means. The key levels to be watched, of course, between those two scenarios is simply taking this high. By taking this high, this means it is a confirmation for higher prices. Why? Because, of course, if you are in A, B, C, the wave D takes the high, it is invalidation of triangle, you continue simply for higher. This will transform to a 1, 2, a very long expanding flat wave 2, and then you push for higher. In case that the things keeps in a triangle formation here, well, okay, guys, it might be a wave C, very likely. And that because, of course, of this triangle, it is a signal that we are in a wave B and not in a wave 2. And what does it mean? It means if we are corrective here, well, very likely that we continue, of course, something for lower again. And this means, of course, you might continue something like a correction, something like this. It can take the low, probably, or lower prices than this, meaning much more complex structure here, probably pushing up again later on, or simply taking the low. But the problem, you cannot be impulsive. By all means, in a general view, you cannot be impulsive toward the downside because I don't see any kind of impulsive wave here. Yeah, so it is definitely something corrective. Now, the maximum thing that it can turn is an expanding flat, taking the low, but it's not gonna be far. So it's gonna push for higher again. And that means, of course, in all case scenarios, we're looking for higher. And I'm still looking for this leading diagonal to be finishing, of course, at least as an ABC 99K 200. And that means, of course, yes, higher price is still requested, whether you are corrective in a wave B or in a wave 2. I'm still looking for higher prices. I know that there are a lot of pressure today. We saw, of course, a massive drop again. Well, on the micro level, still not so big. But yeah, I mean, there is a pressure. There is a pressure here. If we take a look also on Bitcoin, within the indicator here, we can see also that, okay, we got a signal, nice signal, but don't forget that, well, it is invalidated. With this drop today, we have invalidation because, of course, the price took the low. Well, that, of course, signals something not really good going on, yeah? We have a lot of pressure. We saw, of course, another pressure signal here. Now, knowing that it is also invalidated, so somehow the market is still lost, guys, between bullish and bearish. It is risky. It is risky. I know that is something to push for higher, at least as a recover, but still risky because, of course, the macro level is very bearish. Don't forget that we are in a very aggressive impulse toward the downside. And that means, of course, the things might be very risky, of course. I know that this is a leading diagonal and it looks like it has to recover something for higher, but be careful because of the market is so much informal, and of course we see a lot of pressure toward the downside. So it might turn it into something very complex, maybe turning it into a triangle even, and then pushing down later on. So we gotta be careful with it. And we have to take it, of course, step by step with the micro level here and the signals that we get. So for the next thing is to watch, of course, is the confirmation for higher by taking this high. If we take it, then okay, we get a signal that we might reach the 91K. If not, if the price stays below, well, okay, it can be a triangle and pushing for higher, but we gotta be careful. We might drop down again because more pressure for sell might come in. So we gotta be careful. However, because this is very corrective and this is impulsive, I'm still looking for higher on the micro level, but we gotta be careful always from the risk of selling pressure. Yep, so that was it for Bitcoin and for the intraday. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.